Welcome. Today we are going to deal with volume. For the past week we've been dealing with surface area. Surface area is the outside layer of an object. Much like if we took this water bottle, the wrapper, the outside exterior wrapper would be the surface area, and volume is going to be what goes inside of it, the space inside it. So if we looked at this rectangular prism, surface area would be all the sides on the exterior, and then if we filled this hole with sand or water or something, that would, all of it inside would be the volume. So we have two base objects like this rectangular prism, we have this square prism, and we have this triangular prism. And all those are prisms because they have two bases. And then we have this cylinder, which again is a two-base object. So we're going to be dealing with two-base objects today. The first example of volume, a good way to figure out volume and how they have it, is we see this formula. I'm trying to move the screen a little bit. Let's move that screen. There we go. We see that volume is base area times the height, or what we'll say is volume equals big B times H. So the base area, if we look at the base area, it's that times its height. And it's better represented as a book. A book is a great example of finding the volume. So what we do is we find the base area, meaning we find the area of one page, this one single page. So we find its dimension, which is base times height, and then we multiply it by its height, or how many pages. So we take that one page, and then we find the area of it, and then we add how many of those we have. So we would take that area and then multiply it by the height, which would give us the volume of it. So let's take a look at an example. So let's go to the board here, and we have a square prism in this example. So its volume equals big B times H. So the big B is the base area. So when we talk about the base area, let's find the base of this object. The base of this object is the bottom, and that shape is 10 inches by 10 inches by 10 inches. So it's a square. So technically it shouldn't be base times height. It should be s squared, but we can still use base times height. So the base would be 10 inches. The height would be 10 inches. And that's the height of the base. Now the secondary height is always needs to be understood that it's the height of the object. Or the height is the distance between the two bases. We know that our two bases, that's our top base, and then this would be considered our bottom base. So the height is going to be the distance between those two bases. So that height is going to be 11 inches. So now let's simplify. 10 inches times 10 inches gives us 100 inches squared. And then we have to multiply that by 11 inches. Let's move this up. Whoop, not that. Let's move the board up. Thank you. Volume equals 1100 inches cubed. We know volume is always going to be a cubed unit because we have three dimensions. We have base, height, and base length and height. So we have three dimensions that we're going to multiply, hence why we end up with cubic. Volume is always going to be cubic. Surface area is always going to be square. So take a moment. what you want to do is, with this you try, remember, volume equals big B times H. So the first thing we have to do is find out what the base shape is, and then find the area of the base, and then multiply it by its height. So pause the video, throw in some numbers, make sure you're showing your work and being organized with your work, and when you're ready, unpause the video and see if the answer is correct. So we see here that our base shape, let's highlight what our base shape is. Our base shape is going to be a rectangle. So our base is going to be, area of a rectangle is base times height, and then we multiply it by the height, which is the distance between the two bases. So the base of my rectangle is 6 inches by 12 inches. Remember how we find that there is no number here, but if I move this line around, oh, look, it's parallel with that, so I know it's 12 inches. It's going to always be parallel to that value. So the height of my base is 12 inches, and then the height of the object is 6 inches. So this height that we're looking for is this height. It's the height of the object. 6 inches times 12 inches gives us 72 inches squared, times 6 inches gives us 432 inches cubed. Let's take a look at a different object. Let's look at a triangular prism. You notice that we still have the same beginning equation, volume equals big B times H. This time our base shape is a triangle. So when I plug in my base, if I need to find the area of my base, if it's a triangle, we have to use the area of a triangle formula, base times height divided by 2. And let's find that triangle. That triangle looks like that. What is the base of that triangle? The base can be 8 centimeters. Now we have to multiply it by the height. Remember, the height has to be perpendicular to the base. So that's going to be 6 centimeters. And then we're going to divide that by 2. And then we're going to multiply that by the height of the object. Now, the height is not 6 centimeters. 6 centimeters height is the height of the base, that triangle. Remember that this height has to be the distance between the two bases. The base shape is a triangle, so I have to find the distance between those two base triangles, which is going to be 4 centimeters. That can be somewhat complicated, but always remember that this height of the object is the distance between the two bases, those parallel bases. So now let's simplify. 6 times 6 centimeters times 8 centimeters is 48 centimeters squared, divided by 2 times 4 centimeters. Half of 48 centimeters squared gives us 24 centimeters squared times 4 centimeters, which gives us 96 centimeters cubed. So the volume of that triangular prism is going to be 96 centimeters cubed. So let's take this one, and you try this one. A little bit similar to that, but let's see what you get. Pause it, show your work, make sure you're organized, do each step, and then when you're correcting it, you're going to compare each of my lines with each of your lines. Hit on pause when you're ready. So we start with the equation, volume equals big B times H. We're going to substitute base times height divided by 2 in order to, because that is the shape of my base, it's still a triangle. And now we have to look at that base. So let's take this base. We see that my base is 8 meters. My height of my base my triangle is 6 meters. So we're going to have 8 meters times 6 meters divided by 2, which again is 24 meters squared. And now we have to multiply it by the height of the object. The height of the object is the distance between these two triangles, which would be that distance, 10 meters. So my height of the object is going to be 10 meters, and we're going to take 10 meters times 24 meters squared and give us 240 meters cubed. Now let's try a cylinder. So our base shape in a cylinder is a circle. So to find the area of a circle, we use the formula pi r squared, and then we're going to multiply it by the height of the object. Volume equals pi, we're going to do 3.14, times the radius, which is 4 inches squared. Let me get my calculator real quick. And then we're going to multiply it by the height of the object, which is 5 inches. 3.14, 4 inches squared is 16 inches squared, times 5 inches, whoa, come on. So let's take 3.14 times 16, which gives us 50.24 inches squared. And then we're going to take that and multiply it by 5 to give us a volume of 251.2 inches cubed. That is the volume of the cylinder. You try this one. When you're ready, unpause it and we'll go over the answer. So we have our formula, volume equals big B times H. The base shape is a circle, so we're going to plug in pi r squared, which is the formula for area of a circle, times its height. Pi, we're going to plug in 3.14. The radius, notice that they give us the diameter, so the radius is going to equal 4 feet. We're going to square 4 feet, which is 16 feet squared. 3.14 times 16 feet squared gives us 50.24 feet squared. We're going to multiply that by 6 feet, and we get 301.44 feet cubed. That should be good enough. Let me know if you have any questions. If you do, I'm going to see you on Tuesday morning. Reach out to me if you have any other additional questions. Otherwise, good luck with this material.